You know, they call Florida the Sunshine State, but did you know that on average, Florida gets 50 inches of rain per year? That's actually more than Seattle. I'm gonna go over from sunshine to hurricanes here in this video, and we're about to get after it right now. What's up, everybody? This is Thomas with Keller Williams, and if you're looking for everything you need to know about eating, working, sleeping, and what's the weather like in St. Augustine, then this is the channel for you. So tap that subscribe button below, like the video, and if you have any additional questions about the weather, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll get right back to you. We have people reaching out all the time, even if it's something as simple as the weather, and we love it. So whether that's a call, text, or email, we're here for you. Now, my personal opinion on the weather here in St. Augustine is I think it's really great. You know, the heat actually doesn't bother me all that much. Of course, when it is the dog days of summer, it gets so hot and you are sweating anytime you get in and out of your car. But the benefit is you do, travel in a car here. You don't have public transportation where the AC is lackluster. So you really, it affects you, but at the same time, if there's a lot of ways to mitigate it, and pretty much every place has the AC on blast here. Now, a couple of basics to go over about St. Augustine. We are on the northeast side of Florida, so we're just under Jacksonville, and we are in a subtropical humid climate. So most of the year, it's going to be very hot and dewy year-round. The wet season, as we call it, is going to be from May to October. And that's typically because it is so hot. You will see an afternoon shower around 4 o'clock, and it's normally sunshine, then torrential downpour, and then sunshine again within 20 minutes to an hour of that actual downpour starting. The peak in temperatures is going to be in July, August, and September, where you're going to see highs of 90s. Probably 95 to, it feels like 100, and it's going to be very humid as well. So it's going to feel right when you walk out, you're going to feel wet and drenched in your own sweat. That happens for a good couple months here, but the worst of it is going to be in July, August, and September. One good thing about that is that, of course, you are on the coast here, and we have some of the most beautiful beaches here in the United States that you can go check out. So that's a walk down to the beach. And also, because we are on the coast, we do get a very nice breeze a lot of the time. So yes, it will be hot, will be humid during those months, but the rest of the year is actually very mild. And I'm going to go into every month and how that looks for the rest of the year. So there are really two seasons here in Florida. I know the rest of the United States has a fall and a spring, but here in Florida really only have summer and winter. And winter really only lasts from December to March. And if there is a spring, it might be a week where it's not humid and it's 75, 80 degrees, but that's going to quickly go away. In the fall, we don't have palm leaves changing colors or anything, palm fronds. It's all staying the same. There's no change of the leaves and there's no visible change of the seasons here. It's pretty much sunny year round. Now, like I said, we don't really have seasons, so I went ahead and I did the averages of a 3-month time span throughout the year, just so you have an idea, depending when you're coming, of what the weather is going to look like during that specific time frame. Of course, these are averages, but hey, at least it'll give you a little bit of something. So I'm gonna look at my notes here, but the average temperature between January and March, the high is gonna be 70 degrees, the low is gonna be 49. Now, of course, within that time, that is still considered our winter. You will have nights that will get to 30 degrees and you'll have frost on your car, but you're not going to be scraping ice off your car here. At least I haven't had that experience yet. Now, if you're looking between April and June, you're going to have a high of 83 and a low of 65. Now, we're going into the summer months here, so that's very at the beginning there. So it's starting to heat up in terms of how hot it's going to get. The 65 degrees is probably at the nighttime when you're going to see that. Maybe there might be a day or two in there where you're getting a really nice breeze and it feels like that, but that's probably more from the average of the nighttime. Now, July to September, this is going to be the hottest part of the year. You're going to have a high of 89 and a low of 72. The low of 72 for those months is definitely at night because even if it's 80 degrees, it still feels like it's 90 because of the humidity, and it can get up to over 90 to close to 100, or at least it feels like it. Now I know comparatively, I have a lot of friends in the Northeast. It's actually gotten hotter up there this year than it has down here temperature-wise. Now humidity is of course different, so it's probably feeling a little bit hotter down here still. But I was really impressed. I just couldn't believe how the temperatures they were getting up north. Now in October to December, this is going to be also starting the winter months, so we're going into that. December is really when it starts to get kind of cold, if your definition of cold is 70 degrees, but the average, the high is going to be 75 and the low is going to be 57. 57 is, of course, going to be at the nighttime. There are going to be some days where it does get a little bit of chill and you put your Patagonia on, but for the most part, it's going to be 75 and beautiful during the winter. Guys, thank you so much for watching so far. If you've gotten a little bit of value from this video and figured out a little bit about what's going on with the weather here in St. Augustine, then please do me that solid and tap that subscribe button below. Like the video, and if you have any questions about the weather, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll get right back to you. One thing a lot of people are concerned about when relocating to St. Augustine is, what are the hurricanes like here in the area? I've lived here for several years, and my family's actually lived here and owned property since the 70s. So I know a couple of different things about hurricanes, and I've lived through a couple of them as well. Most of them are not going to be much of a problem. You're really just going to hunker down at home and hang out, watch some Netflix. Maybe you lose power for a couple hours, but it'll come back on. Leave all your perishables in the fridge. Don't make sure you open it too many times. But for the most part, most of the hurricanes are going to be pretty mild. Now, of course, there are those extreme size of hurricanes where, they'll wash away roadways and stuff like that and tear people's houses down. Now, that's definitely a possibility, and it has happened in the past. Hurricane Matthew happened several years ago, and I know it destroyed a couple restaurants on the waterfront, a couple people's homes. It washed away a lot of the road front down A1A as well. So this is something to be concerned about if you want to live in that specific area. Now, we're going to be watching for hurricanes between June and November, with the peak times of hurricanes going to be between August and October, where you're going to expect maybe the worst hurricanes or the more quantity of hurricanes during that time. So what do the people do that live on the water? I mean, what happens when a hurricane comes by? Well, you have the option of staying in place. No one's gonna, make you leave, but there are some times where the island will get evacuated, and you do, they're recommending for you to get off the island. There are people that make that decision to stay, people that make that decision to leave. My grandma lives on the island, and what they've done in the past is they had a motorhome, so anytime a hurricane came in, they would go 2 hours inland and not worry about it. Now, they own a double wide that sits on the water, and they own it straight out, so they actually don't even carry flood insurance on it. And during Hurricane Matthew, the water got up to about 3 feet, which is actually where the double wide sits, and took out their AC unit, but the rest of the home was fine. Now, they live right on the intercoastal, so if someone was going to get flooded, it's definitely them. But they've had that thing there since 1998, and we've gotten real lucky with it, so we hope that luck keeps continuing. So what are you going to do? Are you going to evacuate, or are you going to stay in place? Now, I think that definitely depends on the severity of the storm and also your location within St. Augustine or anywhere in Florida. Now, that's going to be a risk assessment that you need to do personally. Now, if one thing to determine that is also to see what kind of flood zone you're in. So if you're in flood zone X, most home insurances won't recommend you to get flood insurance. You still can if you'd like, but most won't require it. Now, if you're in flood zone AE, you're going to be required to get flood insurance. So that's one of the indicators that'll let you know, like, oh, maybe I should get out, maybe I should stay. If you're laying in the flood zone that has the highest probability of flooding. Now, there are a couple of things that do happen when hurricanes come by, just like the toilet paper shortage during COVID. For some reason, people go out and get gas. Now, that's because they want to make sure they have gas for their generator, gas for their car, just in case they do need to get off the island. So there will be shortages of gas and batteries and flashlights, a couple of days before the hurricane, and that's kind of logical because people are preparing. So make sure you have a plan in place where you have these items. if you are staying and you lose power, depends on what your level of comfort is, but a lot of people do invest in that whole house generator just so they can make sure that they have power for the meantime while FPL gets things running again. So what happens is power lines get knocked down, tree limbs fall on things, so they have to adjust and fix things, and happens all over the state here and all over our area, so it does take a while for them to get to certain items. Now, the one thing a lot of people do is they prep their home and they prep their car. They prep their car just in case they do need to get out of Dodge real quick, and they prep it to go bag, so they make sure they can get out and go really quickly. Now, you also need to prep your home as well. A lot of homes here come with the design that you can actually add either the tarp around the side of the windows and the doors, or you already have the metal shutters that will go across just to protect your home from any potential flying objects that could go through your window, or hit the door and break something in the glass panel in the door. Just depends. Anything that'll keep any air from getting inside is the goal. One important note, and this is something to know if you are looking to buy a house during this time, is once the storm is formed, there is a certain trajectory and a cone that they have that when it gets within a certain point, you will no longer be able to get insurance within that time. So let's say that you're looking to put a contract in on something on day one, and day one hurricane comes formed. If you're within a certain amount of distance from this hurricane that's been named, then you're not going to be able to get insurance. They're not going to allow you to. You do want to make sure that you take pictures of any personal items that, if you do have to evacuate, if you are in a flood zone, then you want to make sure you're taking care of yourself and your assets. So take pictures of things that you want to make sure that you can get covered if you do have that type of policy. Now, construction standards have come a long way. There used to be no construction standards at all, and you can just build whatever you'd like. But now everyone has to adhere to a building code, and those are checked by county inspectors as well by their own private inspectors. So it's double checked and triple checked. Now what you're seeing is, if they're wood frame homes, they're being the studs are being bolted to the foundation, which is poured concrete, and then on top of that, they're screwing a 3-inch screw into every roof truss into the studs as well. So that is actually the most effective way for hurricane mitigation. Well, at least it is for now. They're going to come up with something better and newer and better, and they're going to the other way is not efficient, and then that's how it happens. The reason I mention that is because the cost of your flood insurance is going to depend on the construction standards of your home, which pretty much depends on the age of your home, and also it's going to depend on the flood zone that you're in. So knowing those things going forward is going to be able to give you, and of course any property you're interested, we can get a quote for you. But knowing these things ahead of time are going to be able for you to determine what location is best for you in your price range. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you got a little bit of value out of this content, please do me that solid and tap that subscribe button below, like the video, and if you have any additional questions or comments about weather here in St. Augustine or buying real estate in St. Augustine, then go ahead and leave me a comment below. I'll get right back to you. Or if you want, shoot me a call, give me a text, email, whatever that is. I'm the guy who answers the call. So call, text, email. I'm here for you. And also, if you're looking for other areas to buy a home here and figure out where you want to live, I do have another video as well, which you can check out, which I'll put in a card up here above.